All right, everyone, let's do this for the 14th of June, 2023. Again, if you're new here, my name is Michael Nauss. I'm a chartered market technician and quantitative trader. And what I do in these videos every day is I just share what I'm thinking about in the markets, along with a watch list of what I'm looking at going into tomorrow as a swing trader for you, completely for free. If you want these videos emailed directly to you and a screenshot of all of the charts I go over, plus more charts that I don't feel necessary to go over, but they're in there of my full watch list. Check out statsedgetrading.com, sign up for the email list there. Also, if you want access to any of the charting platforms or trading platforms that I use to find these things, link in the description below as well, or statsedgetrading.com will get you those as well, and a nice little discount on those. So without further ado, into Bitcoin, and we can take a look and start at Bitcoin. So actually, when I took the screenshot just a half hour ago, it must be a pretty decent move here recently. Yeah, right there. When I took this about a half hour ago, it was just a little inside range, and I was going to talk about how annoyed I was with everything and how I had a stop limit around this area. So I may have gotten triggered. I'll go check my broker after this, but basically it's looking like a bear flag to me, right? You have a big push down, sideways consolidation, may continue. Here's the anchored view app from the all-time lows. Maybe that's a good target for. That's like 24,000 or so. So I took a shot on, or I may have, and if it moves a little bit lower, I will be taking a shot on this one to the short side, right? Worst case stop, I'm wrong right here. So, you can quickly take a look at the idea for the trade and just, draw this out and say my entries, right around here. The stop loss is going to be right up there, right? So 1-to-1 gets me to the AVWAP target, where I'll probably take half off the table and then ride the rest for kind of a free trade and see if we're going to go lower from there. The only other thing that I was looking at here is gold for the traditional currencies, or the currency segment. Kind of fighting this area right here. So support is holding for now on gold right at this area. For now, I will say the more a support zone like this is tested, and the harder time it has bouncing off it, and actually in the quicker succession that is tested, um, the more likely, in my opinion, it's going to break. Right? It's like knocking on a door. If you do it enough times, eventually the door is going to break. So that kind of makes sense to me that could be this. We could see a breakdown from here. Then we got to look at these lows right here around 18,000, give or take, on gold. So into trade ideas here, where I do my traditional equity markets, also my scanning platform and all of that. Just wanted to point out on the SPY here, as in addition to yesterday's video, FOMC wasn't a thing, right? You can see the absolute change here of 0.15%. So it didn't move. The market didn't move at all. We had a big push down and a big push up, which is very typical of FOMC days, but we didn't really move. So now, this could be, as kind of a technical nerd and as a candlestick guy, we could be having a kind of they call this an evening star pattern. You have a big push up, you have an indecision day showing as a doji, and you have a break of that, right? The doji just kind of showing that indecision type of action, saying, hey, don't really know what's going on one way or the other. As the bulls and the bears fight, if the next move is bearish, then sometimes that can lead to a little bit of a pull down. Pulling back to this area would be totally fine and super healthy. Pulling back to 420 would also be totally fine and super healthy. Or just consolidating would be fine as well, right? But, at some point when the market makes big moves, it has to kind of chop and rest and then make big moves again. So I wouldn't be shocked if we're getting into that rest period. But I think every time you have a doji day, the next day is really, really important. So if you look at this doji right here, this doji day, right, we gapped up, we pushed down, we closed sideways. The next day is looking up, and then you look for some continuation there, right? This doji right here, same kind of thing. The next day was up, and then you look for some continuation. So tomorrow, to me, is very important. Today, not so much. Today, I didn't really look at the markets much at all. Semis, however, if we go into SMH, SMH. This, we just talked about how the market, very indecisive, inside kind of day, couldn't get anything going. Semis, new highs, and continue to push, right? So for my NVIDIA position, very, very happy to be sitting tight, right? This feels like one of the moments on NVIDIA that I kind of want to really go for the guts on this one. So I'm doing that, and I'm just kind of letting the rest of the position that I have go. 5% on this one, but just showing relative strength in semi. So things that are working continue to work, and that doesn't really shock anyone, I don't think. So so this is my entire list, but going into some things that are interesting, we had VRSK that actually triggered today, so I bought some of this one as well. I got filled at around 220 even on this one. And the idea from this is simply we have the anchored view app from before the gap, right? It was pulling back to that. It was kind of struggling in that area, and then it pushed higher from there. I think you draw it from the gap. I think that's interesting as well, right? So we're, this area was super important. I had this alert back here to see if it pulled back into it, but it doesn't look like it's going to pull back into it. Hopefully from now it's going to continue to push higher. So I have this one that I took. LNTH is getting close, so I wanted to highlight this one right here. LNTH is basically, if we just zoom out and then draw that anchored view app and then zoom back in, you can see that anchored view app was support right here and support right here, and a big bottoming tail and closed a little bit higher today. So that one may be getting close, so we're gonna keep an eye on that. GIII as well, a funny ticker. This one just continues to hold this area. So $20 is the level on this one. I want to see kind of a decisive close over $20, and that's where I'll punch into the position. What else I want to talk about? So Breeze, BRZE, I add it to the watch list. This one, look at all the bottoming tails below 40. So now 3 days in a row below 40. I don't know if this after hours print is legit. Maybe not. Who knows? We'll again, I always look close to close, so we'll see on the close tomorrow. But another day of holding 40, I might just punch into this one here. And then it was, TPX was actually one from the year-to-date anchored view app. This one's actually holding this down, so if I see that break through, that's kind of interesting to me. It's a pattern that I'm playing with a little bit more. And then IRDM, this was the anchored view app right here. All right, so $60 comes down to $60, bounce, comes back down to $60 again. If we bounce, that's the kind of push that I want to continue here as well. So again, kind of a do nothing day. We may be seeing, if these after hour quotes are true, we may be seeing a little bit of a sell after hours, but who knows? But really, when it comes down to it, you have to always, and I always say this every FOMC day, is that it's very important to go, okay, day one, the big giant money, the institutions, the brokers, the hedge funds, the mutual funds, they're not like looking to really punch in on day one, right? They're looking to, they take the report, they read it, they read what Jay Powell said, and when he was answering questions and all this kind of craziness. They, take that and they try to figure out what's going to happen next, and then they'll make their decision tomorrow. So for me, it's always not the day of the large event, because that's where a lot of the short-term traders are taking bets and algos are fighting each other and all this kind of stuff. It's the days after. So tomorrow and Friday are going to be interesting days to me. We have a full watch list, as you can see there. If you want all of those screenshots, again, satstrading.com, sign up for the email list. I will talk to you guys tomorrow.